Hello and welcome to the TMC Newsroom. Thanks for watching us today. My name is Rich Tehrani. We're in San Jose, and on our program is Keith Higgins. He's a SVP of Marketing at Aricent. Keith, hello.
Hi, how are you, Rich?
I'm doing great. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much for having us.
I thought it would be smart for us to start off talking about your company and what you do.
Absolutely. Aricent is a private company, about $480 million in revenue. We have offices throughout the world, and primarily what we are is a company that delivers communication expertise with a rare combination of consulting and design capabilities along with our engineering resources. So one of the biggest trends in the communications industry today is the convergence of design and technology and how those things have to be tightly coupled throughout the commercialization process. And we're the only company, at least that I know of today, that has deep expertise in things like design and strategy. We own Frog Design, for example, a very well-known 40-year-old design company and innovation company, and we also have communications engineering resources throughout the world who can help commercialize these new ideas.
And when I was in your office last, it was 2 years ago maybe, or maybe a year and a half, we talked about Frog Design. I was just blown away. And most people probably don't know what that division does. Could you go into that briefly, please?
Sure. They are a global innovation company. They work with a lot of Fortune 500 companies in particular to help them think about what types of new products and services they'd like to take to market, what they would look like, what the user interface and user experience looks like. They've designed everything from golf clubs and mint cans to some of the most compelling user interfaces. We showcase Qualcomm Flow TV, for example, on our website today, which was one of the innovations that Frog developed and our communications engineering department delivered, and we gave it to them as a single vendor solution.
That's awesome. So I wanted to shift gears a little bit and talk about customer experience management and how you assist there.
Yes, well, one of the biggest transformations we're seeing today is in the concept of customer experience management by the operators. And I think everybody would agree today the mobile canopy that is in place was designed long before and engineered long before iPhones and YouTube. So it needs to be managed a little bit differently. And there's really three areas happening that we see for service providers. The one is in new business models. What's exciting if you're a carrier today is the possibilities of cloud services, possibilities of new markets like machine to machine. So there's a lot of work to be done to look at these new markets. Home energy management is a great example of machine-to-machine technology and a good opportunity for a carrier to get another piece of customer premise equipment on site, get managed services revenue. So there's a lot of work being done in looking at new markets and kind of what I would call business and technology consulting by the service providers. The second big area is obviously in the device. You've got an interesting device set here today. We're seeing a lot of focus on how to ignite user passion comparable to what we see with the iPhone or the iPad by a lot of folks on technologies like Android, and not just in mobile devices. There's a lot of consumer electronics that are expanding, being based on Android, for example. And then the third big area that we see a lot of focus on today is in service assurance, or making sure when you're using a mobile network, the quality of service, the quality of the application, real-time video, all those things are delivered, because those three things in combination make up this concept of subscriber experience, and that's really the new competitive battlefield that a lot of the mobile operators are facing today.
So they have obviously a tremendous amount of devices they need to support, a diverse range of devices, and those devices are pretty sticky as well, right? People are buying their service because of their device.
That's right.
But then you've got to also watch out for competition, because as other devices catch up, you've got to make sure that your network is providing the proper levels of quality, and you've got to make sure that the experience is there for your customers as well.
That's right. So ultimately you have sort of this broken love triangle between the device makers, the big internet companies, and the service providers. All of them want to be the brand you think about when you think of your communication. So, some people are forecasting that the social networking companies will end up producing their own devices, customized to their applications. Certainly there's been a lot of emphasis by the service providers thinking about life after iPhone, life after exclusivity. Lots been written about that. And so if you're a carrier, how do you develop your own potentially very compelling device, branded, tightly integrated with all the services you can provide, with a good roadmap to things like cloud services? So there's a lot of thinking going on around how to ultimately own the subscriber with your brand while managing all the pieces, including these new markets, these new devices, service assurance, all of that wrapped together.
So if you had to look at the market, and your company plays in so many different areas, so you're really well positioned to tell us what are some of the future trends? Are we going to see a continuation of what we've seen to date? And if so, is it going to accelerate? And what new things will we see?
I think there's going to be a lot of people going after different applications that we haven't seen as much today. We talked about home energy management. That's a good one. There's a big hot button for people.
Smart grid is huge, right?
That's
it's a
right.
multi-hundred billion dollar market, right?
That's right. And as a consumer, if you could sort of buy a managed service to help make sure everything you're doing is minimizing your energy costs across all the different usage capabilities in your house, that would be, I think, a compelling application. And so I think we'll start to see some new applications like that. Cloud services is another good example where today if you're a mobile operator, the balance between what's done on the device and what's done in your network, you're probably hoping that gets rebalanced a little bit. So if you invest with me as your mobile operator, to some extent like software as a service, and you put in your information, a lot of that's held in the cloud, then you're a lot less apt to jump if a cooler device comes out.
Sure.
Plus, with a thinner client model, you reduce licensing fees, per device licensing fees, testing, application management, all that becomes a lot simpler when you move to a little bit thinner client model in the mobile space. So I think we're going to see, I think we're going to see a lot of relationships continue to evolve between the internet companies, the service providers, and the application and device makers, and tighten up a little bit as well. And so, we're excited about the things that are happening in the communications industry. That's the one industry that we're focused on today. And it's one of the areas where there's a lot of investment, things like 4G, things like Android, things like home networking, things like cloud services. So there's certainly no lack of things to do.
Absolutely. Very exciting.
Yes.
Thanks for being here and sharing your time.
Thank you very
Really
much for
appreciate
having
it.
us today. We appreciate it.